fantastic video. I have completely rinsed that intro. So, the career series is doing quite well, alhamdulillah. First video we did was with a junior doctor, and he was a male, and I think it's probably better to get a perspective on how to get into medicine and things from a female doctor. So I'm very happy to introduce, and we've got a bit of a surprise for you as well. Probably the most creative female doctors I've ever come across. So Shaimaa, if you want to come in. Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I forced her to wear the stethoscope.
It's so cringy.
Okay, so yeah, so basically if you want to give yourself a quick introduction, let the people know if they should already know about you, but if they don't.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Shaimaa and I just recently graduated from medicine, and I'm also an artist in the realm of Islamic art entrepreneurship, if I can say the word.
What's your act? Let's get it across so people know.
Okay, so it's Salaam Sanctuary, Salaam spelled with one A. So yeah, go follow me on that.
Okay, we'll put it here. Okay, so we'll go straight into it then. So Shaimaa, what is it you do, and what's your job title?
So at the moment I am a student, well I just finished, but I'm hoping to be a junior doctor and see where that takes me. But I'm also a huge creative in the sense that I love Islamic art. I paint, I go on art courses and just branding workshops and things like that to see where I can actually take my art in a professional sense as well.
Were you forced to study medicine, or was it a choice?
I wasn't forced to study medicine, but I would say that it was kind of an inevitable path for me. Growing up, sciences and maths was something that was very important, academia was very important. I come from a family of medics. And thinking back on it now, I wasn't able to explore my hobbies as seriously as perhaps it would have been better for me to. So when it came to choosing my career, medicine was a very familiar area, but also I didn't know that you could take your art and creative skills in a professional sense. So yeah. But
yeah, now you're taking it in a direction. So medicine and art. So how do you get into medicine? For a Muslim woman, people may be a bit intimidated by, being a doctor and what it entails. So
first of all, just have the confidence that you can do it if you do want to get into it, whether you're a male or a female. Gain as much experience in it as you can to see whether you actually want to go into a career of medicine. People think that they know what it is, but it's important to go and try and find experience in hospitals, in a general practice, to see if you're interested, but also if you're squeamish, like if you're squeamish from blood and other stuff.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Don't go into medicine. Yeah, that's what I would say. Do as much research as you can. Talk to people, message me or people that you know in medicine, and then see if you can get experience in caring roles, like working in a hospice, etc., etc.
You can do it if you have a fear of blood, like same way people have a phobia of spiders and stuff. You can get over it.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Don't let that limit you. I don't think.
No, don't let it limit you, but you will see it a lot. Just know that if you go into it, just know that you're going to see it a lot, and it can't stop you from practicing.
Exactly. Is creativity in Islam something that's valued?
Oh, in Islam?
In Islam, or as a Muslim?
Definitely. I think in Islam definitely it's valued, and I recently went to an art exhibition where someone completely changed my perspective of it. There's a verbal art form, which is reciting the Quran. There's different ways of reciting the Quran, but there's also the Arabic calligraphy that you see, that's representing God's words, right? And it's giving you a reminder. And there are different scripts that you can learn. This is the Thuluth script. There's different types of scripts that you can learn.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then there's also Islamic geometry, and that is the art of Islam. And there is a massive, rich heritage in our Islamic, I don't want to say Islamic culture, but yeah, in Islam there is a massive realm of art that we all should know about. Like, have you been to Granada in Spain?
Oh, this is so embarrassing for me because literally I have not been outside Cardiff. I'm just not one of those.
Honestly, the Islamic world is beautiful, and the history of Muslim Spain is incredible as well. So things like that, it just really fascinates me. So it's Islamic art and geometry is a part of my life now as a Muslim and as an artist, which I really like.
That's so crazy. Right, so let's flip the camera and show them what we've got going for them, basically. So this is why I got Shaimaa. Basically, this is why it's so creative. Some of the stuff is amazing. Like, it is crazy. I didn't even know that you could do this stuff. It looks like it's been printed by a computer.
Oh,
like, it's
you.
so accurate and precise. So yeah, talk to them about what this is.
So I have to say, this is a piece by Iona Fournier Toms by me. I got that for my second year of uni for my 20th birthday. So yeah.
Who's it by, sorry?
Her name's Iona Fournier Toms. One of the she just has such beautiful Islamic geometry that she works on.
Wow.
I named my car after her, so my car's called Iona. Random fact. So this is just, I think it's let me double check, a four-fold pattern. This is Islamic geometry, and I love to work with watercolour on different kinds of paper. I want to try to get into more sustainable, ethical, handmade paper, and I always use gold ink. So yeah, that's my...
That's so pretty.
That I work in.
How did you do this? So did you start off with gold?
So all geometric patterns start with a line and a circle, and then you build it up, and you can create so many different patterns. It's like once you get into it, it's just so addictive.
Look at this one. That one is really pretty. The colours there. It looks like you've just stolen this from like a mosque in Spain from the ceiling. That is really nice.
I haven't.
It is beautiful. So how can people sort of start this? Because I know I've done a video on calligraphy and things like that, but this is Islamic geometry. So what kind of equipment do you need if you want to start this?
So all you need is a pencil, a ruler and a compass. And once you get more professional, there's like specific compasses that you can buy and stuff.
Did you make this?
I did. I just came back from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and I went on a parquetry course. So these are different wooden
stuff
veneers.
I need to show you. This is amazing.
Wow.
Thank you so much for bringing all this stuff.
Absolutely.
It's actually really good, Masha Allah. I didn't expect it to be this good.
Thank you.
Up close, you know, because you take pictures of things and sometimes it looks better on the camera, but this is actually really good. And it graduated.
I actually remember, let's see if I can remember the representation of this. So these are different wooden veneers, and if you know how to do parquetry, you'll realise some mistakes in this.
What is parquetry, sorry?
So parquetry is work with wood, geometric patterns with wood.
Okay, how'd you spell that? Just so I can to get like a definition of
Parquetry.
Parquetry, okay.
Yeah. And the middle, there's like different, it's called grains, there's different directions of the wood. The middle star is supposed to not have a grain, and it's supposed to represent the Kaaba, and everything else is supposed to point towards the Kaaba.
Oh,
so you can see that some of them are
I
pointing.
see.
And that's sort of the Islamic representation of it. So yeah.
How did you get into this sort of stuff? Did anything inspire you? Did you see something in the Islamic world that drew you towards this?
Yes, actually. So I did art at A-level, but I didn't know anything about Islamic art when I was at A-level, during A-level. And at the time I applied to university the first time and actually didn't get in. That caused me to turn to Allah, actually. It just made me reflect on Qadr and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has everything planned for you. And I remember I read the Quran more, and it just really, really deepened my connection to my faith. And in that time I downloaded Instagram and started following Muslim artists. I didn't know that was a thing, honestly, because I lived in a village of people who were all not Muslim. I was the only one, really. And Peter Gould was the first Muslim artist that I started following, and he was going to Morocco and Turkey and Granada and Andalus, and that's when I discovered this world of calligraphy and geometry and stuff. And there are lots of people who do art courses now, and so I just started going on art courses, and now Islamic art is a massive part of my life. Having free time and having a year out is not the be all and end all, especially if you're someone who's driven. You will find something to do, and you can build yourself up, and I don't regret that year out at all. What I will say is, when I applied to uni the second time, I remember the first time during interviews I didn't really talk about my art side, I didn't really talk about my extracurriculars, and when I applied the second time, during my interviews I talk about art, and I was way more comfortable talking about me as a person.
I see.
And they liked that, like they really liked my art side, so I feel like that got me into medicine. So.
That's amazing. So it's not, that's proof then, it's not just medicine or dentistry or optometry. These interviews, you need to showcase that you are a person with interests and hobbies, and that's the best way to sort of go about applying to university, where these courses are quite competitive. You need to show that you stand out, and trust me, she stands out. Some of this stuff is amazing. So, Shaimaa, since you're quite creative, and obviously medicine, somehow you managed to marry the two together, do you think Muslims should focus on one completely, i.e. become a creative artist solely and try and pursue that fully? Is that a question that you think people should consider?
I think if you are someone that's creative, definitely explore if you can do that as a career. I think in my time, it was definitely you should do art as a hobby and you can't go anywhere with it as a career. But now coming out of uni and having gone to branding workshops and different art courses and seeing people really make a decent living out of their creativity, it made me realise that in our community, as you know, whether you're Arab or Asian, it's kind of like, oh, Masha Allah, you're a doctor. Oh, that's cute that you do art. But like, if you do something like, oh, you're a photographer, it's like, oh, like she must be struggling.
Exactly. I think that's a misconception people do have, because they don't see the success that comes with it. And this is a passion. And a lot of people have spoken about this in the previous videos. They said that, look, do something that you're passionate about. Something that you're good at, something you're passionate about, and something that pays you money.
Definitely.
And people don't seem to realise that these careers are viable.
There's a quote that I really want to share with you guys. So the quote is, "We're only in our creative infancy because of our history, #colonialism. Stripped of everything our parents had, one priority, and that was food on the table, so they made you doctors, lawyers and bankers." And our older generation, our parents, came to the West, and they were kind of in survival mode, so they found it important for us to have really stable jobs, whereas our generation is completely different. It's about, well, what are our passions? Who are we? What's our, it's all about self-actualization. And that's why I think I'm stuck in between medicine, which is stable, and art, which is what I love to do. And it's not even art, it's filming and everything. So it's something to think about. And if you're a girl, I know how hard it is.
Tell them, Shaimaa, going on them, because I need more female representation, and it's rare to find someone as outgoing as Shaimaa. And I know that there are girls and women out there that can do what you do, and are probably better than what most guys are doing at this stage, I feel.
And you know what?
We need you to represent.
They might be doing it in their homes. They might be painting, and they might have all these talents in creative design and whatever. But they're just underconfident that they can't take it anywhere. If a girl says that, oh, I want to create a business, I feel like it's not taken seriously. Yeah. Whereas if a guy says it, it's like, oh, he knows what he's doing.
Exactly, and that's not true. And this is why I need more women to represent their careers and their hobbies, because what you do is serious stuff. This is serious stuff. Like, honestly, it takes a lot of effort to do this stuff, and it's precise, and it's intricate, it's nice. And I'm sure there's other things in other creative realms that we haven't explored because people are too afraid or too shy to fully explore them. Do you face any troubles with this, or is it mainly sort of, people don't take you seriously?
I think for me, it's people ask me to do it for free. And if you're someone who is creative and you have a talent, value it to the point where you ask for money, whether it's creating an art piece or designing a logo or whatever talent you have. Make sure that you think about it as like, okay, so this is time. How much money am I spending on this? How much time am I spending on this? It's okay to charge people. It's completely fine. How else are you going to sustain your talent and take it further and learn more and create more and earn more,
By the way, I do these videos for free and don't charge for them at all.
Genuinely.
I know. I'm putting all this content, all these wonderful people, and to be honest, I appreciate that you're coming here for free, and I'm not offering you anything either. People should value that. The least you can do is support.
But you as well, like you need to use your camera, or you might,
exactly.
You've got camera stand at time, like effort coming here by car. It's you do have to think of these things, and may Allah bless you and
thank you.
allow you to keep going with
Insha Allah.
What you do.
But how are you going to do this while you're working, by the way?
Planning, genuinely. I'm going to plan my life out, basically, to see. My friends are really good in terms of planning to see them, so I already know when I'm seeing them. So that's covered, social life-wise. In terms of art, I know which art courses I'm going on, which weekends I'm going to exhibitions,
and then
just allocate 2 hours a week or something to not sleep and catch up on painting. I have to do it, like to carry on. But I'm just creating pieces to sell, and actually in the future, Insha Allah, create an online shop so that people can buy art prints.
Have you got a link for that yet?
I do actually. Salaam.
We'll put it all in the description. No worries.
Yeah.
If you want to give them 5 top tips, whether it be about getting into a course they want to do or any hobbies, anything you like, 5 top tips.
The first is, I can't stress this enough, if you're creative, take your work seriously, invest in it, in terms of learning more, do your research, go on courses. If you want to, I talk a lot about where you can do Islamic art and where you can learn, so just go on my Instagram account
Yeah.
for that. You might be a girl or a young woman who thinks, I can't start a business, or I can't create artwork and sell it because I have family responsibilities, I've got a child to look after, I've got, I've got responsibilities as a married woman. I know so many incredibly successful women who have incredible their family work balance is fine. They're able to run successful businesses, and they're married, and they have children, and they've got like 1,000 other things that they're doing as well. I am very inspired by my grandmother. The women in my family are big earners. Some of them earn more than their husbands.
Is it? That's a bit intimidating.
Is it actually? No, it shouldn't be intimidating, genuinely. It shouldn't be something that guys are afraid of, I don't think.
Some guys are afraid.
Okay. But yeah, my grandmother was a judge, and she loved to paint, and she loved to cook, and she balanced it really well, and she was very elegant about it, and for me that's really inspiring, and that's kind of what I aspire to. Okay. Yes.
So Shaimaa, third tip?
Okay, third tip is empower yourself with knowledge. Make sure that you find out more about your deen, keep learning, but also find out more about the field that you're going into. There are podcasts out there, there are YouTube videos, useful YouTube videos out there. This is empowering yourself with knowledge as well. Whatever career you choose, just know that you're never stuck. You can change and pivot, and I'll tell you a story. So earlier in February, literally 3 days before one of my exams, I went to London for a branding workshop, and it was by Peter Gould, and Muslim entrepreneur / creative. And it was really good for me to network with people, but also, and by the way, that is another tip, like network, go get yourself out there, it'll help so much. But also, after the workshop, we all went for coffee and dinner and stuff, and I met the director of British Muslim TV, and he used to be a doctor. He was working in emergency medicine, and he felt that that didn't express exactly what he wanted to do in terms of serving people, and so he created this platform, British Muslim TV, where he
showcases different.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much content.
Can I get on that? Is there a way we can get on there?
What, going to?
Just like use them as a platform. I don't know.
Definitely. You know what? We can. I have them on Instagram. Like we.
Well, I'll take your details after this.
Yeah.
Insha Allah, we need to network. But yeah.
Ask yourself also, not what is going to let me have a stable job. Ask yourself, how can I serve people? Because once you have a stable job, what then? Like, what are you going to do after that? Whereas if you have talents in communication skills, in whatever, you can really use that for anything, and inshallah there's a reward in it as well in the afterlife. I'm
doing this to represent Muslim women. There's so many talented, creative individuals out there like Shaimaa that you wouldn't have known.
Get yourselves out there, guys. Get
yourself out there, and don't be shy. Don't be shy at all. Don't be afraid of a camera. That's the best way to encourage others, and it's a form of sadaqah jariyah. That's why I'm doing these videos. I'm asking other people to showcase what they know and what they've learned over time. There's no way you get that information yourself with ease, and it's all there. So thank you for watching. I'm just gonna use this and zoom in because it's so pretty. If you don't mind.
No problem.
Oh, so zoom in. Finish it off.